This ain't my first rodeo. I've been down this road before. All your pieces on the floor, and for that I love you more. I'm pulling petals of a flower, guessing who has lost their power. You say me and I say you. I'd like to tell you the truth. Baby, it's what I do. Baby, it's so, so cruel. But you won't ever be alone. I can get a little angry, be a little dangerous. No matter what, I do it all again for us. I can be the one who breaks you, be the one who builds you up. You'd be surprised how many lines I cross, how many lines I cross for love. I can make your tower fall, every brick and every wall, all of your defenses gone. At the end, just holding on. Baby, it's what I do. Baby, it's all so cruel. But you won't ever be alone. I can get a little angry, be a little dangerous. No matter what, I do it all again for us.
Oh, the lilac snow drifting down so soft and slow outside my window. I watch it go. Oh, the lilac snow. And though the world may seem so still, it's coming in a distant chill with the memories of winters past, of the ones I wish would have lasted. Oh, the lilac snow tells secrets of long ago, of carols sung, of gifts we've known. Oh, the lilac snow whispers softly on the wind as memories come flowing in. Once the candles on the tree glow, softly lighting up the lilac snow. Then the quiet of the winter night was filled with wonder and pure delight. Oh, the lilac snow tells secrets of long ago, of carols sung,